Let's all just imagine Nigel Farage was the one involved in the stamp duty tax gate. Before we get started, I'd like to just say thank you for tuning into the channel. All the new subscribers, it's greatly appreciated. And we're going to dive straight into it. The chaos we have seen over the last couple of days regarding Angela Rayner and her stamp duty tax scandal. Cammy Badenoch stood up in the PMQs and asked Angela Rayner to resign over this. Keir Starmer stood up and gave a passionate speech how he's behind her and how she's come from nothing to being Deputy Prime Minister. In the last 24 hours, we've seen her house has been vandalised with graffiti right on the wall of her new house. And it got me thinking, I thought, what if we swapped Nigel Farage with Angela Rayner? We're all thinking the same thing. The backlash would be out of this world. He would be on every single mainstream media platform going. They would add it to the list of all the things they've slandered him for, dragged him through the mud for. I think the backlash would be far greater than what Angela Rayner's receiving. We've seen the interview with Beth Rigby on Sky News where she turned on the crocodile tears and, you know, she went in with a family regarding that. I don't know how she tried to manipulate it and what angle she tried to go with, but for me, it just doesn't wash. The way I look at it, she's Deputy Prime Minister. The position that woman is in and what she's actually gone and done, I just don't think she can stay in her position. And I don't really care if Keir Starmer defends her to the hilt or backs her or the cabinet back her as well. They're irrelevant. They really are irrelevant because they're not really serving a purpose for this country to start with, are they? So there's no way they can preach to the public that this lady should stay in her position because I say so. Doesn't work like that, Keir. And Keir Starmer proved my point yesterday that Nigel Farage lives rent-free in his head. He tried to make it all comical, get everyone laughing, get everyone jeering in the chamber. Where is he? He's over in America. He's slandering our country. He's doing this. He's doing that. Not really. I know what he's doing. He's over there and he's representing this country. And you called him unpatriotic. Keir, you had one of the most unpatriotic politicians I have ever seen. And if you watch what Nigel went and did while he was over in America, he spoke about free speech, he spoke about censorship, and he warned the Americans about your rulings. And he's bang on. He's bang on the money about it as well. You kept going. You went over there and you sat there in front of Donald Trump and you told the world that the UK has free speech. It isn't censored. And then you just look at some of the decisions of people getting thrown in prison for having a free speech and not having been censored. I don't know if you saw it, but Nigel was actually interviewed when he was in America and he was asked the question about not being in attendance at the PMQs. And he didn't care. He said, why would I be? You know, I get mocked every time. I can't really speak because they just talk over me. Free speech. And I'm out here, you know, and I think he's done a good job while he's been over there. And I think he's made them aware of the UK and the situation. Not that they don't already know what's going on in the UK. And for me, what it all boils down to is the Labour Party and Keir Starmer are absolutely frightened to death of Nigel Farage and Reform UK. They're ahead in the polls, their memberships keep going up, conferences are thriving. GB News, what Nigel Farage appears on, is now #1 news channel in the UK. Do you remember when that first came out and it got absolutely dragged through the mud? It was going to be an absolute disaster. Well, who's laughing now? And I'll say this, people who mock Reform UK and Nigel Farage, I think you're going to have a bit of a rude awakening, because when it does come to the next general election and you see people voting for Reform UK and you see them numbers climb and climb and climb, what are you going to do about it? Because for me, I think the non-believers think that Reform UK are just going to vanish. Nigel Farage is going to vanish. They ain't going anywhere. They're right there. They're right up there. And if you want to see them stats, just Google it. It's right there for you to go and see. The polls, the statistics, the numbers. They're right up there, people. And I think the reason that they're up there is because the people have had enough of the Labour government. They've had enough of the Tory government. And we've only had the Labour government in power for 14, 15 months. And look at the state of the country. The economy's in the toilet. They're having fallouts. We're seeing scandals like we're seeing now. What do you expect people to do? I think the Labour Party just needs to stop using Nigel Farage as a scapegoat. They really, really do. They need to concentrate on their own manifestos, their own policies, their own promises, which they've not delivered on any, by the way. And, you know, they might start getting a little bit more respect. But for me, I think it's far too gone. And the things we see, like we're seeing now, the scandal with the stamp duty, that doesn't look good. It just adds and adds and adds. And we've got the October budget to come yet. And that is, you know, that's going to be dreadful. We know it's going to be dreadful. They've already said it, you know, it could be quite bad. Rachel Reeves, you know, she get upset in the chamber not long back. talking about black holes again. Keir Starmer don't know what day it is half the time. It just doesn't look good for them as a whole. It really doesn't. So my question is this: do you think Labour government use Nigel Farage as a bit of a scapegoat where they've no one else to turn to when there is bad things happening within that party and it's public, it's in the public eye? They just look at that man and go, right, what is he doing? What's any of the other people doing in Reform UK? We need to mock these people. We need to use them as an example. But I'll say this: imagine if Nigel Farage was the one who was involved in this stamp duty tax scandal. The uproar, people. We know it. I know it. You know it. We know it would be absolutely on a complete and utter different level. It would be massive. I can guarantee you this as well. In them PMQs yesterday, one of them people who would have stood up, Angela Rayner, would have stood up and she would have demanded that Nigel Farage resigns. And for me, that's facts. They would have all gone in on him. They would have all been heckling him when he stood up and spoke. And I just don't think it's a very good professional look when you're just using that man as a scapegoat. I think he is one of the most patriotic politicians that we've seen in this country. You know, he's fighting for this country. He's trying to make things right. Look, he's not perfect. He's not a magician. You know what I mean? He can't, click his fingers and everything's fine and dandy. If they do get in 2029, they're going to inherit one hell of a mess. The 14 years of Tories and this utter garbage we've had for 14 months. They're going to inherit it, but they've got to be given an opportunity. People say they're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. How do you know? They've never done it. They're not in power. But for now, they're not relevant. They're not in power. Labour's in power. Keir's making the decisions. And for me, they're crumbling on a weekly basis. So that's where I think we need to put our concentration on. Keir Starmer and his Labour government. And I'll wrap it up there. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is Nigel Farage used as a scapegoat by the Labour government? Is Angela Rayner in the wrong? Should she resign? Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.